Ask 5 anime fans where to start, and you'll get 10 different answers, 2 arguments, and at least one guy telling you to just go watch a short 500 episode series first so you understand the basics. No, that's not a recommendation. That's a trap. So I'm doing this differently. This isn't the best anime ever made. This is a roadmap. 10 shows in a specific order. Every single pick teaches you something new about what this medium can actually do. And by the end, you're not just walking away with 10 things to watch, you're going to understand why so many people are obsessed with this. Quick rules before we dive in, because honestly, this is the whole reason the list looks the way it does. No 1,000 episode shows, I promise. Nothing obscure either. Everything here you can pull up and start tonight. No weird watch orders, no go watch these other 3 things first. And nothing's on here just because it's popular. Because honestly, some genuinely incredible anime are terrible first picks, even if they're amazing once you already love this stuff. The only thing this list cares about is what actually gets a total beginner hooked. And we're going in order. Easy to hard, short to long, light to dark. You're leveling up as we go, so don't skip ahead, trust the process. But before we get into the video, kindly subscribe to the Animated Memories for more content like this.
There are plenty of things this world could do without. Immorality.
If you've never seen a single anime in your life, this is where you start. Not negotiable. So, the setup, a genius high schooler finds a notebook that kills anyone whose name he writes in it and decides to use it to clean up the world. A genius detective decides to stop him. That's genuinely it, that's the whole premise, and somehow that's enough to fuel 37 episodes of pure tension. What makes this such a perfect entry point is there's nothing to learn. No fantasy world, no powers to memorize, none of that anime logic you need a manual for. It just plays like a prestige crime thriller. Basically, Sherlock Holmes versus a serial killer who thinks he's a superhero. And it proves something huge right out of the gate. It's not winning you over with fights or fan service. It's winning you over with 2 geniuses going back and forth. And it's one of those rare shows where both the dub and the subtitled version are just excellent. So, however you want to watch it, you're fine. Most people fly through all 37 episodes in days because every single one ends with a gut punch. If Death Note proves anime can be smarter than you expected, next one's gonna prove it can be way cooler than you expected too.
I like those shades, man.
I like everything you got. Looking to make some big bucks? I think you'd fit right in here. Yeah.
You know the first rule of combat?
Huh?
Shoot them before they shoot you.
Bebop has one of the only English dubs so good that anime fans actually stop arguing about subs versus dubs for like 5 whole minutes. That alone tells you everything. This one's about a crew of bounty hunters just drifting through space, taking jobs, running from their past, living episode to episode. Basically a space western, except someone swapped the guitar twang for jazz. Most episodes stand completely on their own, so you're never stuck trying to remember 20 plot threads. You watch one and you feel done. And it's only 26 episodes, so it's basically a weekend. What it teaches you is anime isn't one look or one type of story. It can be moody, stylish, genre blending, way closer to a cool late night film than whatever you picture when someone says cartoon. The English dub cast got so beloved that fans genuinely argue some scenes hit harder in English than the original Japanese. And that pretty much never happens in this medium. Bebop proves anime can feel like a cool indie film. Now let's prove it doesn't even have to feel like anime at all.
I just want to help you.
No!
This is a Studio Ghibli film, follows a young girl who wanders into this magical bathhouse run by spirits and gods, and has to work there just to find her way back home. Coming of age fantasy, zero edge, zero shock value, none of the stuff people assume anime has to have. If you've streamed this before and never once thought, I'm watching anime right now, that's exactly the point. And honestly, that's why it works so well right here. It just kills the intimidation factor completely. It also sets up something the rest of the list builds on. Anime isn't only for teenagers, and it doesn't have to be loud. It can be gentle, painterly, emotionally rich, closer to a fairy tale than a show. And it's not small either. This was the first non-English animated film to ever win the Oscar for Best Animated Feature. One movie, under 2.5 hours, basically zero commitment. That one was calm. That one was gentle. Next pick takes that same gentleness and quietly sneaks in some real emotional damage. This one starts as a goofy comedy about a kid with psychic powers and somehow ends up one of the most quietly emotional shows on this whole list. Shy, awkward teenager, terrifying psychic powers, but really he just wants to be a normal kid with friends, and he's working part-time exercising spirits for a con man mentor who turns out to be one of the best father figures in anime, weirdly enough. The jokes land instantly, no anime knowledge needed, but underneath all that comedy is a real story about insecurity, self-worth, what actually makes someone strong. 37 episodes, 3 short seasons, easy follow-up to what you've already watched. What this teaches you is anime can flip tone without giving you whiplash. Comedy and real emotional weight just living in the same scene, sometimes the same line, same studio, same director as another huge anime, and a lot of fans genuinely think this is the more emotionally mature sibling show. Mob Psycho proves anime can sneak up on your heart. Next one's just gonna prove anime can be straight up fun. No strings attached.
さあ行け最強の魔女ヨルティシアあの男を安らぎにするもじゃ
魔女いるの世界観が全くわからん
No deep lesson here, no hidden gut punch. This one's just on the list because sometimes you want a good time. And that's allowed. A spy, an assassin, and a telepathic kid all end up living together as a fake family. None of them know each other's secrets. Every episode's basically built like a sitcom. Breezy, funny, zero pressure. Put this on after a long day, just smile through it. It's also a big reason anime crossed over into the mainstream. A ton of non-anime people got hooked specifically on this one because it markets itself more like a family sitcom than a typical action show. And that's the lesson, honestly. Anime doesn't have to be serious to be good. Sometimes its biggest strength is just being really well-crafted comfort viewing. That was the easy lap. Now we start climbing, because the next one asks a little more of you, and it pays it back tenfold. This is where it stops being easy and starts being rewarding. Story follows a powerful elf mage who outlives the entire band of heroes she once traveled with, and it's about what she does with the rest of her impossibly long life.
この人のこと何も知らないし、たった10年一緒に旅しただけだし、人間の寿命は短いって分かっていたのに、なんでもっと知ろうと思わなかったんだろう。
Fantasy story that's really about grief, memory, time. It's slow on purpose. It trusts you to just sit in a quiet moment instead of constantly poking you for a reaction. And if you've ever wondered whether anime can actually be literary, this is your answer. 28 episodes, asks for your attention more than your time. It's basically the go-to adult beginner pick in every anime guide right now. Specifically because it doesn't feel like it was made for teenagers, it feels like it was made for you, and the payoff's real. Anime can tell a mature, grown-up story without leaning on darkness just for shock value. Frieren proves anime can be quiet and thoughtful. Now, let's go to the one most fans call the closest thing anime has to a perfect story. Two brothers use this forbidden science magic, alchemy, trying to undo a horrible mistake, and they end up uncovering a conspiracy that threatens their whole country. It blends literally everything you've sampled so far: comedy, tragedy, mystery, action, found family, flipping between all of it constantly without ever losing the thread. A lot of long anime fumble the landing. This one doesn't, and honestly, that's the whole lesson here. Anime can commit to a long story and actually deliver an ending that's worth it. It's voted the highest rated anime of all time on basically every major anime site. Not the most popular, the highest rated, which is a very different thing. You just finished the complete package. Now let's talk about the show that's flooding your TikTok feed right now and why it actually earned all that hype. If you've scrolled past an anime fight clip on your phone in the last few years, there's a good chance it was this one. Boy's family gets slaughtered by a demon. His sister gets turned into one. He joins an order of demon hunters to find a cure and get his revenge. What sells this instantly is the animation. Just some of the best ever put on a screen. Fluid cinematic fight choreography that genuinely looks like it had a movie budget. This is the actual answer to why is everyone posting anime fight clips? And it shows you anime's visual ceiling. Proof this medium can go toe to toe with the biggest animated blockbusters out there. 4 seasons so far, easy to watch in chunks, and the studio behind it got so respected that fans now just chase down other shows because the same team made them. Demon Slayer shows you the visual ceiling. Now let's flip genres completely and prove anime can write comedy better than you'd think. If you think anime comedy is just exaggerated faces and screaming, this one's gonna change your mind. 2 student council members are both secretly in love with each other, both too proud to admit it first, so instead they wage this all-out psychological war just to make the other one confess. It's fast, sharp, genuinely clever, and it turns the most overused will they won't they trope into elaborate strategic battles narrated like a war documentary, over something as small as who pays for lunch. 3 seasons, short episodes, easy to binge fast, and the whole gimmick of treating tiny romantic moments like epic battles became one of the most copied comedic formats in anime after this blew up. What it proves is anime comedy can actually be well written, not just reaction faces and memes, but real comedic timing and structure. Kaguya-sama proves comedy in anime can be genuinely smart, and for the last pick, we're ending on the one that converts almost everybody, even people who swore they'd never watch anime.
Be honest. Are all of us riding to our deaths?
Yes, we are.
We're closing on the show people just call the Game of Thrones of anime, and once you watch episode 1, you'll get exactly why. Humanity's living caged behind massive walls, hiding from giant man-eating creatures called titans. Episode 1, a titan breaks through the wall, and the show barely lets you breathe again after that. The premise is crystal clear in minutes: survive the titans. But it escalates fast into political conspiracy, war, characters on every side who are way more complicated than they first look. 88 episodes total, the biggest ask on this whole list, but you've built up to it. You've earned it. This is consistently the answer adult fans give when you ask what got them into anime, specifically because of how hard that first episode hooks you. And it shows you exactly where you're headed next, anime that can build a sprawling, high-stakes, genre-blending epic that goes toe-to-toe with the biggest prestige TV in the world. And that's it. That's the roadmap. 10 shows, 10 doors, into 10 different rooms of the same massive house. Here's the thing I actually want you to walk away with. Anime is not a genre. Anime is a medium. It's not the cartoons with the big eyes. It's a format that can hold a crime thriller, a space western, a Studio Ghibli fairy tale, a workplace comedy, a slow character study, an action epic, and a war drama. Sometimes all from different shows that just get lumped into one word: anime. these 10 weren't picked because they're the best. They were picked because together they show you the actual range of what this medium can do. So tell me, which anime got you into this? And if you're brand new, which one of these 10 are you starting with? Drop it below. I genuinely want to know.